Hi, once again a very warm welcome, and I am Neetu and I'll be taking you through your next soft skills topic. It's a topic that is very close to my heart, and it's a topic that actually builds us as people. So we're going to discuss handling feedback and criticism. And I can already see your brains churning as to why should I be criticized, why do I need feedback? But that is the only way to grow, my dear students. So let me take you through this journey, come along with me and see how it benefits you. All right? Okay, let's go. What is the objective of this session? Like in every session, you need to understand why exactly we are doing this particular chapter, why is it important for you. So let me go ahead and help you understand. We need to understand what is the importance of feedback and criticism. How exactly does it help you, or why is it important in your professional life? How does it make you a better person at work and even in your personal life? Because criticism happens all the time, feedback happens sometimes, but as you grow and move into your professional world, feedback is something that you will be getting quite frequently. So you need to understand how to grasp the best out of it. All right, and this is a very important factor. Sometimes the feedback or the criticism that is given to us is not done in good stead. So we need to understand how to take negative feedback and how to turn it in our favor. All right, and understand how to give feedback in a place where you have become, you have come in a position where you are supposed to give feedback. How to actually go ahead and give a good feedback. I will take you through one or two tools that we use, and last but not the least, demonstrate ability to give feedback using the sandwich method. That is one of the most used methods to give feedback, and it is really very it really gives good results, and people come out and they work better once the feedback is given in this particular manner. All right, so let's move on. Praise makes you feel good, critique makes you better, and that, my dear students, is the gist of this particular chapter. Anybody can come and praise you, they can keep saying good things about you, but as long as they don't tell you where you need to improve, what is it that needs to be done better, you will not become better at what you're trying to accomplish, right? This is the only way to become better. So with a pinch of salt, but in good stead, it has a positive effect on us, right? All right. So some of you may know what this diagram is. This is Maslow's diagram of hierarchy of needs. This tells you, I'll tell you how this is related to feedback and criticism. Maslow did a research, and he defined certain needs that all of us have. These are very basic needs, they are primal needs that we have. Until unless these needs are satisfied, we are generally, we do not evolve and grow in life. So as the triangle grows up, as you can see, as it grows up, you become better people. So when the lower needs are satisfied, you move on and you start feeling better about becoming better person rather than just fighting for survival. So at the very base is our psychological needs. These needs are of breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing and sleep. And then the second most important need that we have is of safety and security, health, employment, property, family and social stability, right? This and this is the area where feedback and criticism actually works. This is a place when we are really growing. This is a place when we are becoming adults. This is a place when we are becoming better performers at our work, in our homes. We are becoming, we are giving more and more responsibility. As more responsibility is given to you, as more work comes your way, there will be anybody who's leading will have to understand that feedback is a very common phenomena for them to become better leaders. Anybody who's being given responsibility, they will have to understand that whenever responsibility is given to you, you are open to criticism and feedback. It's not just that you will be getting pats on the back because you did something. Something going wrong is also a part of the game, right? How does this relate to feedback and criticism is something that I will explain to you in the next slide, and which is what happens exactly when criticism happens. When somebody is criticizing you, what happens to your brain? What happens and where does it actually go ahead and hit us in this particular area? So, these three are our basic needs. If this is not satisfied, if this is challenged somehow, and if we are not able to grow beyond this, and if we are not able to understand how to handle when we are challenged in these particular needs, this is where criticism and feedback hits psychologically. So, so what I am trying to tell you is that it is very natural and very normal to feel upset or offended if feedback is being given to you. So, do not be scared of a feedback, and do not be scared of getting one, do not be scared of being criticized, because your reaction, your initial reaction of not feeling good about it is something that you are attuned to psychologically. There is nothing you can do about it. But once that awareness has come within you, once you understand that this is something, I react to it like this because this is the way I am programmed, then after that understanding, how to go ahead and use that to your advantage. What happens when you receive criticism? Your brain is protective of you. Primarily, when when we were becoming city dwellers, when from the jungle we were moving on to more evolved human beings, we still have a sense of threat perception. This is a very basic animal instinct that has been given to you. So, your brain will automatically read criticism as a threat. It will read it as a threat to your social standing, it will read it as a threat to your prestige, it will read it as a threat to your position, it will, it's not going to feel bad, it's going to hurt you, as simple as that. Because when we receive criticism, the brain tries to protect us. It tries to protect us, it tries to immediately go into a defense mechanism, and it tries to protect us. All right. So, biologically this is how we survive. Biologically, threat is our standing in the eye of others, and it has a remarkably potent biologically threat to our survival. So, basically when you try, it has a very potent threat to our survival. So, when I am trying to say this, what I am trying to put it over here is that at the end of the day, it is normal to feel jittered if you are given a feedback or a criticism, right. How to handle it is what we are going to do next. Why is it important to handle it? Even when it is such a threat to survival, when I don't feel good about taking a criticism, when it really upsets me and I am not able to function better because of criticism, why should I then take it any which ways, right? Because this is something that I want you to take away from this slide. Please remember, change will always register as pain in your brain. Change is whenever you are trying to change something, whenever something new is being given to you, it will always register as pain in your brain. So, let us say for example, let us keep aside feedback and criticism for a moment, and let us talk about getting up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning because suddenly you have got this fitness craze and you want to go to the gym before you go to the class, and earlier you were getting up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, right? You were missing the first 2 classes and going at 12 o'clock. So, this particular change also, sit down and reflect on it. It's going to be difficult for you to adapt to a 5:30 shift if you were already getting up at 12 o'clock. Even this change, this slight change which you have decided to do will be something that you will find very difficult to accept. Let's say for example, you're sitting with your best friend in the class all the time and suddenly this teacher decides that you guys are talking too much and this particular friend is moved from the seat next to you to, let's say, at the back of the class. Tell me honestly, are you going to be really very comfortable about that? That thing also is going to reflect as a pain area in your brain. So, whenever a feedback is given to you, whenever somebody is criticizing to you, there is an element of change that is being brought in, and this change is going to register as pain in your brain. Okay? All right. Why do we need criticism? Because it is an opportunity to become better professionals. It is opportunity to understand a pain area in our personality or in our work and go ahead and make it better. It is the only way to improve at what we are doing, right? Okay. And yes, your whole progress will be positively impacted if you are able to take a feedback properly. If you are able to take criticism properly in the right manner, your progress as a professional, your progress in your personal relationships will be far better if you are able to work this out. Okay? Get to know new things about yourself. How else will you go ahead and understand? If you are living in a silo, if you are living in within yourself and you do not interact with anyone, for the fear of being disrespected, for the fear of being criticized, for the fear of being humiliated, as we call it. If we don't go ahead and challenge that status quo, how do we go ahead and understand better things about ourselves from somebody else's perspective, right? And it helps build your image as a progressive person. What does that mean? I want you to understand, what does image as a progressive person means? Progressive person means that somebody who is ready to adapt to new challenges, a person who is able to get feedback and becoming a better version of themselves every time you meet them, a person who is open-minded and who is not threatened by the words and uses those words to become sharper and far better at their work than ever before, right? So, every time you make a progress, you become a better professional, you become a better person, and you are engaging in the feedback and criticism to hone your skills, to become better at whatever you were doing, right? And last but not the least, it really helps build interpersonal skills. So, if you go back to the listening skills chapter that we did, feedback and criticism involves a lot of listening, a lot of understanding as to where the person is coming from, right? So, if you understand where the person is coming from and you listen to them non-judgmentally, you listen to them in a manner of understanding them and not criticizing them, and then taking their words and applying it to your profession, to becoming better, to correcting whatever is being pointed out, to not taking anything personally, to not being judgmental, right? You will have a better interpersonal skill. They will find you more comfortable to talk to. In this world, whenever we are associated with a profession, or whenever we are associated in any which ways, we can't avoid interaction with people, and everyone is their own person. They will all have a point of view which may or may not be the same as yours. It will be different from what you are trying to say, and especially in a professional environment, it will have a context of years of experience trying to tell you how to do something better. If you take everything to the heart, you will very soon end up with a broken heart. and that is not something that you want in your professional environment. You want to understand how you can do things better, apply it to your job and move on to the next level as fast as you can, because that is what experience is all about, right? Okay. When we are talking about feedback and criticism, I want you to understand that there are two types of mindsets. No matter how much I tell you in this particular video, or no matter how much YouTube videos that you go ahead and watch, some people will just not get it. Some people will not understand what exactly is the benefit of feedback. Some people will just get angry. And the two types of mindset, this particular category of people, they will fall in the fixed mindset. So, what is fixed mindset for you? It is intelligence is static. It leads to a desire to look smart, and therefore, you have a tendency to avoid challenges. You will not be able to take anything that is new in a good stead. Why is it always given to me? I don't think I can do it. Oh my God, I have to stay beyond my shift hours. This is not going to work for me. This is the way we will respond if we have a fixed mindset. Okay? You will have a tendency to give up easily. Trust me, when you're trying to learn, when you're trying to grow, a fixed mindset is not going to work for you. However, is this natural? Yes, it is natural. You will have a challenge while changing yourself. You will have to change that particular mindset and to move ahead, to become better, right? Okay. Ignore useful negative feedback. Even if a feedback is negative, calmly, without judging, am I able to understand what is it there in it for me? What is it that I can pick up from here and apply it to become better, right? Okay. Then you've already put yourself in a silo. You've already not worked on yourself. You are threatened by challenges, any obstacle, and you fall down and you don't know how to get up. However, you are so jealous of somebody else's moving ahead, somebody else's progress, right? So, that is what fixed mindset is all about. Then again, as a result, your efforts, you see efforts as fruitless or worse. What does this exactly mean? You see efforts as fruitless or worse. You don't, you just want 0 or 1. That means success and failure. So, the failure becomes such an important thing in your life that you see that, efforts, if they did not give any results, that having no results is going to break you completely. You don't take efforts as a learning phase. You don't take efforts as somewhere, from where you moved from one particular position to, let's say for example, 10 steps of things, how to actually know how something is being done, and maybe you are still working on the 11th or the 12th step. But those efforts have actually made you a better professional in a particular field, and you just focus on the result, and not getting results is going to make you upset. So, as a result, it is very easy, if you have a fixed mindset, it is very easy to plateau. It is very easy to not be able, because you are not challenging yourself, because you are not open to feedback, because criticism is something that breaks your heart every time. And you sit down there hating the person, hating the environment, creating an environment of distrust, creating an environment where nobody can say anything to you because you feel so upset, right? So, very naturally in this case, then we do not get to grumble about our slow growth or our lack of friends, or our bosses not trusting us, or our situation being the same forever and ever, because we are the same ever and ever, and we are not changing ourselves. Remember again, change registers as pain in the brain. It will always be difficult, but beyond that difficulty is where your growth lies. That takes me to the next slide, which talks about the growth mindset. Yeah? What is the growth mindset? Intelligence. So, growth mindset believes that intelligence can be developed, and it leads to the desire to learn. You don't get fixated on myself. हम तो ऐसे ही हैं is not a sentence that you हम तो ऐसे ही हैं is not a sentence that you're using quite frequently, right? So that is the fixed mindset. In a growth mindset, the person will say that I want to challenge myself and become better. I want to change. I want to inculcate new habits. I want to see how this new thing sounds, and you're always working on yourself, because you understand that in life we are perpetual learners. In life, learning never ends, right? So what do? We embrace challenges. It comes very naturally to us. So if a new thing comes, you will be smiling and you will say, bring it on. And that is the way you will approach everything, right? You will always take obstacles as keystones. It's like you will always take it as keystones or as milestones in the journey. You will look at the journey as a whole. Obstacles will not be something that stumble you. Obstacles will be one more mile covered in the journey of becoming a better professional, right? Okay. You learn from criticism. Anybody who has got growth mindset will take criticism in their stead, and this is what builds them. This is what makes them a better person. Imagine a scenario where you were never told how to do something better, how to be better at something, because you have the talent, but it was never brushed properly, because you would just start crying and you would not take any feedback from anyone. Do you think you will become a better professional by being so vulnerable that you don't understand what is being said is actually being said to build you better, right? And you see efforts as a path to mastery. So you basically understand that all the efforts that you're putting in are making you master at your game. They're making you a better person at what you are trying to do, right? And you do not ever face a problem while seeing other people successful. You do not take this as problem, as a matter of pride, as a matter of issue. In fact, you take inspiration from that. You look at these people and you aspire to be better than them, or at least to reach to those heights, and you applaud their progress. That is what a growth mindset is. In order to understand how to take criticism and feedback, it is very important to understand which particular mindset you are at right now. So if you are in so let me just summarize whatever we have done till now. Maslow's theory of hierarchy of needs says that threat and threat perception is something that we are born with. So anybody who's trying to criticize you actually challenges that threat, and it is very natural to feel threatened, because your personal space, your pride, your personal social standing is being challenged. So it's okay to feel threatened if you are being criticized or a feedback is being given to you. However, if you want to grow, you need to move from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset, and that is the only way you will be able to become better at what you're trying to do. Otherwise, you will be too touchy and too sensitive, and very soon that is the reputation that you will carry in a professional environment as well. Okay? How to take it? Let's go ahead and understand how to go ahead and take a feedback. So, appreciate and accept the compliments. Sometimes I have a difficulty with this as well, and sometimes we are very shy when a compliment is given to you, but be thankful for that. Go ahead and proactively say thank you, and go ahead and say you appreciate that you have been able to, that somebody has been able to observe this particular quality of yours, and take it naturally. It is very rare that people give compliments, and it is very good to receive it. So, receive properly. Okay? Have a growth mindset. Look for things you can immediately improve on. This is very important. When you are looking at criticism, generally we have a tendency to see and feel bad immediately, but break the conversation down into various phases, and try and see what are the things that you can immediately apply on. So, when we were talking about the reading chapter, when we were talking about how important it is to read, and I said that we, the CEOs, the topmost CEOs of the world read at least minimum 50 books in an year. I don't expect you to totally go ahead and start reading 50 books a year. It would be a very difficult task to achieve. But what can you apply immediately here? You can, let's say, start with 5 words every day. That will help you build your vocabulary. You can start by reading at least 1 book in a month. That can be applied immediately, right? So, see what can be done immediately at the moment, and see how you can build into that particular criticism. Okay? Look for emerging patterns. Do not be defensive. Look for emerging patterns in your work. Is this something that I am getting a feedback on quite frequently? Has this become a habit? Sit down and calmly question yourself on that. It is very important for you to understand. Self-awareness is the best form of becoming a better person. Before somebody else points that out to you, if you know that this is something that I need to work on, you will automatically become a better person, right? And always remember, it is not you. It is the work that is being criticized. It is the work that needs betterment. You are doing your best. Somebody, by giving you a feedback or by criticizing something, is giving you a tool to perform that work better. Do not take it personally at any cost, right? Okay? And set specific goals. Now, the last 3 I will take simultaneously. There is something that we call SMART, and we will be touching it in the later chapters. SMART goals are the goals that will lead you. So, SMART goals are specific, they are measurable. You can actually measure them at the end of the particular cycle that you have decided for yourself. What is the result that you are expecting? They are attainable, they are not a dream. Okay, fine, ma'am said that CEOs read 50 books a day, so 50 books in a year, so I am going to complete 102, and you already have your assignments and your work and everything, so that doesn't become attainable, right? So, SMART goals are specific goals, they are measurable, they are attainable, and at the end of the day there is a timeline that you work on, right? And it is result oriented, you are always focused on the result. At the end of this particular thing that I am trying to do, this is the result that I am going to get, and it will be done in this particular time frame. So, you make a perfect commitment, right? So, when a feedback is given to you, you go ahead and make SMART goals for yourself, and you go ahead and work on that, so that you become better at whatever you were trying to do, right? Moving on. How to turn This is very important for all of you to understand. How to turn, we're dealing with human beings, right? Not everyone is going to put the feedback in the way that you want to listen to. It will not be put in the way that is soft and desirable. They have their own way of looking at things. They have their own way of communication, their own style, their own experience, and not everyone is going to be sensitive to your needs. They are not going to be sensitive to the way you want to listen to something. So, how in this kind of and honestly, it is very it is not really professional to expect people to be nice to you all the time. You can yourself be very nice to everybody all the time. That may build your reputation and people will be different to you. However, to expect that everything will be hunky-dory all the time for you is something that is a wrong expectation from the world. We have to take things with a pinch of salt sometimes. Now, how to turn that into your favor? So, let us go through this chart and try and understand that. Please do not get angry, okay? Please do not get angry if a negative feedback is given. Do not retaliate. What will happen if you get angry? The boss will become angry and mistrustful of you. They will not be able to trust you further, because a person who's not able to control their own temperament, sometimes it is very difficult, and also not able to understand the hierarchy, not able to understand the seniority level. It is very difficult for them to be trusted further. Okay? If you do become angry, calm down, go ahead, meet at a different time, apologize genuinely, say you are sorry, and then sit down and listen to what that person was trying to say. All right? Okay? And what to say instead? I want to be sure I understand. So, when we were talking about listening, I mentioned a term called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is something which is you can use anywhere in order to understand things better. So, you go ahead and you ask that person, is this what you were trying to tell me? Is this what you were trying to say? Have I understood you correctly? Right? You will have to go ahead and rectify that situation if you by chance have become angry after a feedback has been given. Please do not cry. In the professional world, crying is not taken properly. It is easy to get overwhelmed. It is easy to be moved by your emotions, but please remember, you are programmed to take it as threat. It is just a threat perception. However, the threat is not on you, it is on the work. It is the responsibility of both of you to go ahead and do this work properly, and that is the premise from which this criticism is coming from. Both of you have a similar aim. You want to give the best work possible, right? So, please do not cry. If the feeling comes, excuse yourself, take a small break and go out, wash your face and then come back again. Say for example, if you do cry, please remember this, and this is very important. If you do cry in front of the boss, you will not be able to garner much of empathy, specifically if it is work related criticism or feedback. It will portray an image that you are a weak person and that you are highly emotional, and tears will be the only thing that the person will remember. Okay? Very important. If this happens, again, the onus to rectify the situation is yours. You will apologize for becoming emotional, focus on specifics and move on to the next level. Okay? Do you mind if I give some thought and that we talk later? Go ahead, it's okay. it is not okay to break down in front of your boss if it is not something personal, and if it is professional, if it is work related, it's not okay. You will create an image of being someone who's not able to, who's not progressive. Okay. So, however, it is okay to go ahead and excuse yourself for some time and then come back and understand this from a more calmer perspective. You are human beings, everyone understands, and it's okay. However, please understand that reaction to response ratio has to be maintained. Your reaction is something that happens immediately. Try and make this lesser and lesser. Your response is something that you do after calculated understanding of whatever is being said. The more your response ratio is higher, the lesser your reaction ratio, the better professional you will be perceived. Okay? All right. Never ever deny it. Denying means that I didn't do it, I didn't know. Immediately you will break the trust of the person who is going ahead and giving you this feedback, because they know, they have data, they have records, you have done it. So, simply you will be perceived as a person who lies easily in order to avoid feedback and criticism. That is not an image you want to carry. Okay? Your credibility will be at stake. In a professional example, integrity is the highest value that you can bring in. If your credibility is at stake, everything will become difficult for you. You will not get new projects, clients will not be given to you if your credibility is at stake. That is not a position that you want. Okay? If that happens, please meet again, explain that you failed, to see the bigger picture at first and ask for specifics. Please remember, the corrections, it's okay if it happened, but the onus of correcting that particular situation also lies upon you. All right? And in that case, this comes as a surprise. Could you give me some more examples? Could you help me understand the situation better? I was not expecting this at all. And this is a language which everyone will understand. Okay. Last but not the least, a good leader, a person who has leadership qualities, will never blame others for something that has gone wrong. So, please don't do that while feedback and criticism is given. Please try and understand it's the work and not you. Okay. So, the boss will lose complete respect for you. They are not deluded. They have come to you for a specific reason after certain things have been observed, and we have the data to support the claim, right? So, they will lose all respect for you if you keep blaming others and if you become a gossip monger. So, focus on yourself and look for something you can learn from the feedback and then meet again. Okay? And what to say? I hadn't considered looking at it that way. Could you tell me a little more about what you see? How? Always have an open approach, and that is the end of this particular, that is the takeaway that you want to have. Crying, and let's say for example reacting in the first instance with anger, these are very personal and very normal emotions. However, in the professional world, they carry a weight which you don't want to carry on your shoulders for a very long time. You should know how to rectify that, and you should also know that a professional image is something that is very important for your further growth. Okay? So, moving on. Okay? I just want you to focus on this picture for some time. Imagine if the seed said that, I don't care, it hurts me and I am not going to grow anymore. I am such a small little thing, I am so fragile, I am not going to break this ground, I am not going to break my skin, and I am not going to be able to do this anymore. I just want you to focus and think. Nothing happens till we are able to take the challenge of changing the status quo. It is only when the seed decides that it needs to grow and it breaks the ground, it first breaks its skin, it then goes and breaks the ground. That is when it grows into a mammoth tree, a fruit bearing tree, a shade bearing tree, which is there for many years to come. If we don't take those kind of challenges, and if we live in our own velvet boxes, we would never be able to give shade to anyone and be progressive in our life. All right? Growth essentially means that you're becoming a better person at every moment, and you're challenging barriers and anything that comes in your way in order to grow in life. Okay? All right. So that was all about criticism. This is one of the most favorite ways in which I like giving feedback, and I'm going to share this with you. It's called the sandwich method. So when you are in a position to give a feedback, remember, it's always a good way to pack it in a sandwich. What is a sandwich? Okay. It is the tastiest way to give a team member a feedback, and you want them to remember the feedback as well as not feel bad about it, right? That is how you would like to receive feedback as well. So what you do is you begin with positive comments regarding the particular situation. You always, if you know your subject well, if you know what you're going to talk about well, you will always have something positive to say to that person when you begin the feedback. So the first layer is the fluffy burger thing that is there on the top, okay, and you always say something good. Then you give praises to the person for their strong points, okay. You give compliments on things that have been done well. Then you give the criticism. So there are 3 levels of goodness before you actually come down to the criticism portion, right? Right? Okay. All right. And then remind the person of their strong points, okay, and then thank them, offer them support at whatever level they need. So what exactly are you trying to do there here? What are you trying to do is you are trying to mitigate, you're trying to lessen the threat perception that psychologically that person is going to get every time somebody is just criticizing them directly. What did you just do? You cushioned that threat in a manner that was not threatening anymore, and because of that more acceptable, right? Okay. All right. One thing I would like to remind you over here is data will always help. Whenever you're trying to criticize as a boss or as someone who has that particular authority, have relevant data in hand. Never just go ahead and criticize because somebody else has told you, because that's something that you believe in, and that is why I'm coming to the next slide. Please do not be stingy. Please do not defend or excuse your behavior. Please do not demoralize or condemn someone. Don't give a feedback just because you're in a bad mood or you want to praise someone else, okay, or suddenly you have this very important feeling of feeling superior and then you want to go ahead and give a feedback. You will lose your credibility as a leader, right? So you don't want to do that. Okay, when do you actually give feedback is when there is a concern for another. You are genuinely working towards making that person better. You genuinely care about that person's development in the company. You see them as better potentials, and from the heart you go ahead and give that feedback so that you see them in a better position and you see them growing in the company. That is the point from where you give the feedback. Okay, you have to recognize, or you have to reiterate the sense of responsibility that both of you have towards the client, towards the company, towards the work that you're both trying to do. all right. That is when you give a feedback, and you are their guide and mentor. You are their guide and mentor, and you want to see them in a better place next year. You want to see them get promoted, right? That's when you give a feedback. You want to support them and you want to enhance their portfolio. You want to enhance their personality as professionals. That is when you give a feedback. And most importantly, you only give a feedback when you have relevant data with you. When you are supported by facts and not just fiction and not just words from somebody else, all right? Okay. So, whether you like it or not, my dear students, feedback and criticism is going to be a part of your next level of life from day one. The moment you enter a TCS or a Wipro or any other organization that you're going to be a part of, it will be a bi-yearly thing as it is that you're going to do, biannual thing as it is that you're going to do. It will be a part of your PMP, your management, your professional management program. It will be a part of your individual development program. It will be recorded, it will be put on paper, and that is how you will be getting promotion. So, it is better that we learn how to take feedback and criticism in our stead and focus on our growth and not feel bad about it, because these are some of the figures that I want to see. Sometimes we feel, and that's a very huge number, 45% of the workers feel that actually the reviews are waste of time. This is 80% of peer reviewed employees get a better understanding of their strengths and weaknesses. There are certain tools that are used, and peer review is when your own colleagues at your own level are giving you the reviews. In that case, 80% of the people felt that they became better because of the feedbacks given by their own colleagues. There is something called the 360-degree feedback method, and that is where everybody puts in a little bit of word compliments, and they put in a lot of efforts to give a feedback to a person, and people have actually felt better equipped by the feedback that has given to them through these particular methods, all right. So, 70%, and this is a very huge number, 70% of the workers want reviews that help them develop and grow. People are actually seeking them so that they can develop and grow, right? Okay. I would like to end this particular session with a very beautiful quote, and the quote is, the difference between the highly self-aware and the rest of us is that they push through that discomfort and ask for feedback anyway. And this quote has been given in a psychology book on self-awareness, which is called Insight by Tasha Eurich. And this is something that I believe in myself very much, that until and unless you challenge the status quo, until and unless you are ready to come out of your comfort zone is a very beautiful place to be in, but nothing happens there. So, if you want things to happen for you, you need to challenge yourself and you need to challenge the status quo, and feedback and criticism is the only way to become better. Thank you so much once again. I appreciate the time that you've spent with me. Please go ahead and have questions, have queries, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.